The civil war in Libya has been a problem for the world since Gaddafi has been killed, since Gaddafi's revolution has ended in violence. Ever since then we had violence in Libya. There was no peace. The problem is for the neighboring countries. If you look at Tunisia, there are more than 100,000, maybe 200,000, nobody really knows the figures, of refugees from Libya. So for Tunisia, a very fragile nation with a very positive attitude towards the world, they probably suffer. If you look at the other side, Egypt has a lot of problems, social problems, political problems. If suddenly there would be a mass movement of refugees to Egypt, it would be very uncomfortable for the government to deal with this. If you look at the Libyans, and not only sub-Saharan Africans, Libyans are now trying to escape from Libya to Europe. The time now in the Mediterranean is very rough. The sea is very rough. So the chances of drowning is very high, of being saved is a great problem. So in general, it's not only the problem of people escaping to neighboring countries. The problem is there is no stability in Libya. There is a government in Tripoli, which is supported by the United Nations and now by Turkey and by the European Community partly. But others, Field Marshal Haftar in Benghazi, is supported by many more nations. There's Egypt, there's United Arab Emirates, there is Russia, they have militias there, they have a lot of support. They've been armed by France. So all of these nations are causing problems, and all of these nations are causing turmoil, and how to solve the situation is very difficult. It is probably a very great moment in the recent history that they even came together to discuss these problems. Because if there's no peace in Libya, it is a problem for the whole of Europe and is a problem for many other nations as well. The United States is not engaged in Libya, or is practically, they were in Berlin. The Secretary of State Pompeo was in Berlin, but no important Trump or whatever was present. So what did they discuss? They discussed no more armaments to be sent to Libya, to try a ceasefire in Libya. But the major actors, Sarraj of Tripoli and the Field Marshal of Benghazi, were not present in Berlin. So it depends on them also what they're going to do. There are so many interests, national interests. There is France active in Libya because they have oil interest. There's Total. You have the Italians who were very active on one moment, but are not anymore because they've been pushed out because they had so many changes of government in Italy that there was no continuous politics, foreign politics in Italy concerning Libya. But they are interested because there is a company, Eni. This is the Italian oil company. They're very important, very important. So France has oil interest, Italy has oil interest. Now Turkey is involved. Turkey supporting Tripoli, sending arms, sending advisors. Why? Because Turkey is also interested in oil exploration in the Mediterranean and gas exploration in the Mediterranean, and they like to be a world power, or at least a power of influence in the Middle East, which they try. But all of these actors, to see Turkey remove their troops from Libya, I would like to see that. Are the United Arab Emirates, which armed the Field Marshal and his troops, are they withdrawing the assistance of him? I doubt that. They have been sending drones, they have been sending weapons, and I don't see any particular moment of really accepting these kind of peace proposals in Berlin. Berlin itself was an event which was positive because there was finally a group together trying to find peace. As I just said, they are all involved. They are all involved because they all have interests. And the interest is not the interest of the Libyan people. The Libyan people, by whom are they governed? They're also governed by tribes. They're influenced by tribes. They're a self-appointed field marshal. And the government in Tripoli is supported by the United Nations, but the United Nations has no power anymore. The United Nations is a very moral, very generous organization, but without teeth and without weapons, so the United Nations has no influence on the government in Tripoli or the field marshal in Benghazi. We are dealing with a problem which will take time to solve, but as I said at the beginning, Gaddafi is dead 7 years and there has been no progress at all. And I wonder whether we can now have progress in 7 months or 7 days or 7 weeks.